thought I would take a minute and just talk a little bit about some of the basic hand tools that we use. Interestingly enough, the hand tools used in this craft just have not changed significantly over the years. Many of the tools that we use today are very similar to those used years and years ago. Let's take a look first at some basic site clearing tools, rakes and shovels, of course, mattocks, different sizes. We've got some crowbars that we use for moving larger pieces of stone around and positioning things. Here's a 3-foot level. We also have a 6-foot level that we use too. Not surprisingly, we've got a couple of variety of different sledgehammers used for chisel work or just used for breaking rock if we need to do that. These three hammers really represent probably the primary tools that I use. Here you've got a nice good stone axe. Although it's got a sharp edge on it, you might think that's intended for splitting big pieces of stone. It's really intended just to drive that thin edge into an existing fracture or schist in a stone and help it split on its own. The primary use of this is using the other end to bust off corners and sides of existing rock, just to shape them up a little bit if they need it. This is a great small brick hammer. It's got a carbide tip on this end and a nice flat end on this side, used for just doing a little bit of trimming. It's really like having a chisel on the end of a handle, and really handy. This, just like the other big stone axe that I just showed you, is a smaller version. It's got a carbide tip on it, which makes it just last a little bit longer. Like I said, those three are the primary hammers that I use probably 85% of the time if I'm doing any hammer work at all. Finally, just a quick look at some of the chisels that we use. These have all got carbide tips on them. This is a tracer, one used for breaking. These two are both used for dressing. The face of stone. And finally, here's just a nice point stone if you've got a stubborn knot that you need to take off the top or the side of a rock. Sometimes that'll help encourage it to let go. But we do very little chisel work in the Drystone masonry work that I do. Try and keep things looking natural and organic as much as possible. So that's a little look at some of the tools we use. This little guy over here that I didn't talk much about is called a zip level. Certainly a more modern tool than many of the others that I mentioned, and I'll reserve a segment just to talk specifically about it and how we use that. All right.